Alright, I hope it's recording now, but so basically this is what your frog deck would look like if it was built by me. It's built by differently by everyone. But your best monster is going to be Swamp Frog. Basically what he does is you can special summon this card by discarding one other water monster. And every time this monster is summoned to the field, send one level 2 or lower water aqua monster from your deck face up field to the grave. And usually when you do this effect, you would send Ronin Totem. And then Swamp Frog's other effect, you can return once per turn, you can return this card back to your hand, and you get an additional frog normal summon. So you can normal summon 2 frogs. And then you can normal summon him again and send like another frog. If you sent Ronin Totem, you can send Treeborn Frog. And after you would do that, you would activate Ronin Totem's effect that when this card's in the graveyard, you can banish one other frog monster you have in your graveyard to special summon this card. And then you would straight off Xyz summon into your boss monster. Totally awesome. I've sent you the effect. Sadly, he is now limited to 2. So other cards that I have in this deck. So when you do the standby phase of this card, you would summon Dupe Frog. So with Dupe Frog, there's a thing called a Dupe Block. Basically, Dupe Frog, whenever an opponent attacks, they can only attack Dupe Frog. And when you have 2 Dupe Frogs on the field, nobody can technically attack unless they attack directly. And then other cards, Flip Flop Frog. It's a flip effect, so when you flip it from face down position to face up, you get to return. Yeah, it's not targeting, so most cards can't really negate this if it targets. You can return up to as many monsters your opponent controls back to their hand up to the number of frogs you control, so you can return up to 5. Now, when you have the Dupe Block, one card you would always want to get is Unifrog. Unifrog, when you attack, Unifrog can attack directly, and if you do, and you control another frog, you can destroy one spell or trap your opponent controls. Double Cross Frog can't be used to get out Ronin Totem. I mean, not Ronin Totem. I can't remember the name. Totally awesome, but it's great because you can target one monster your opponent controls, give it to the opponent next to the zone. So you can basically, there are 5 zones in Yu-Gi-Oh! You could put them on the edges. If there are 2 monsters like in the middle 2, put them on those 2, and you can take all the monsters in between the 2 double cross frogs. Then this is just here for another frog. This card battles a defense position monster, you can still do damage. And this is just there for Ronin Totem. Aqua Jet, target one monster you most likely will have. It gains 1,000. Foolish Burial, send either Ronin Totem or Treeborn Frog. Monster Reborn, free revive to one of your frogs like Swap Frog or Dupe Frog. Salvage allows you to return two water monsters, so Swap Frog and probably Ronin Totem or Dupe Frog or another Treeborn Frog. Mass Change 2. So basically what you would do with this card, basically discard one card, then target one face-up monster you control that has a level. Send it to the graveyard. Also, after that, if it left the field by this effect, special summon from your extra deck one masked hero monster with the same attribute, but a level higher than the original attribute and level, if face down. So what you would do with this is special summon masked hero acid. Once this card is summoned, or special summoned, destroy as many spells and traps your opponent controls as possible. And all monsters if you do, all monsters they control lose 300 attack. You can only summon this with that card, but it's a good card. And then we have Aquarium Stage. water monsters you control cannot be destroyed by battle with a non-water monster. So basically, nearly any other monster we use won't be able to destroy it unless it's like Double Cross Frog or any of your water monsters. Then wetlands, all aqua type water level 2 or lower monsters gain 1200 attack. So nothing in your extra deck will be supported by this, but this can help your Unifrog or Submarine Frog. Then we go into the Paleozoics, which are great trap cards. Target one banished card, return it to the grave. So basically, you can return Treeborn Frog, so you can banish it again to summon another Ronin Totem. And if a trap is activated and this card's in the graveyard, except for the turn it was sent there, you can special summon this card from the graveyard as a level 2 Aqua type monster with 12,000 attack and 0 defense. And it's not treated as a trap. And if the card is summoned this way, this card is unaffected by monster effects. Also banish it when it leaves the field. And it's different when you use it for Xyz summon. It'll just go back to the graveyard because it technically never left the field. Then you have Froggy Force Field. Activate when a frog monster you control except Frogger the Jam, which you won't have in your deck, is selected as a target. Destroy all attack position monsters your opponent controls. Now, Paleozoic, another one. Target one spell trap on the field, destroy it. Once per chain, when it basically does the same thing as the other Paleozoic for a second effect. Then the last one, it cuts a monster's attack and defense in half until the end of the turn, which I probably should change because I believe there's a better one than that. Now for the actual extra deck, this allows you to play your Paleozoic cards from your hand, but you have to have a Paleozoic card in your as for material. So you would have to Xyz summon using one of these guys into him, so you can use that effect. And then this card, when this has a Xyz material, so any one of these, it cannot be destroyed by battle. And once per turn during either player's turn, you can detach one material from this card, then target one rank 4 or lower Xyz monster you control. Its attack and defense become double. So basically, you can make that from a 2200 to a 4400, which is actually a pretty powerful monster, but that's only till the end of the turn. Now, I don't remember. This card is unaffected by other monster effects. If a trap card is sent from your spell trap zone to the graveyard, you can activate the top card of your deck, and if it's a trap, add it to your hand, otherwise send it to the graveyard. So that's kind of risky. I wouldn't really use that effect that much. Once per turn during either player's turn, if this card has a trap card as Xyz material, you can detach one material from this card, then target one card on the field, destroy it. So basically, like this one, you would have to have one of these cards attached to as material. Just requires two link summoning. This is where it kind of gets difficult. It's not like any of the others, but it's quite simple to do. All you really need, since how we don't play link format, is just two monsters. So 2 Ronin Totems, 2 Swap Frog, 2 of any of these monsters, or 2 of any of these monsters, but they leave the field, so they would be banished. So all water monsters on the field gain additional 500 attack and defense, and all fire types lose 400 attack and defense. If this card is destroyed by battle or a card effect, you can target one water monster in your graveyard, add it to your hand. You can only use this effect of Mistar Boy once per turn. Now this one I just saw because I saw it in like some meta decks. So let me just see what it actually does. Oh, it does nothing to help you, so that's not good. Yeah, and so far that's about it. I'll tell you more when I upgrade this deck, probably a little more.